Greetings, YouTube. I was watching a video by the Illuminati today. She does naughty as in like Noughti. She does videos discussing corporations and social topics and uh, pundits and things like that. And she was talking about Peterson, a particularly loathsome human being, Jordan Peterson, and how he became who he is essentially. And I've never understood the logic behind folks like Peterson when it comes to getting angry that someone wants to be respected. If a trans person wants to have you show them respect and they say, okay, these are my pronouns, this is my name, please use them. And you, as an individual, if you're a decent human being, will then respect that person and use their pronouns and their name. Whether it's he, she, they, doesn't matter. Whether it's Bob, Jill, or Jordan, some neutral name. You do that because you're a decent person. But if you're not a decent person like Peterson, you don't do that. But why do they get so angry that they're being asked to be respectful? And they act as though the very act of being asked somehow is an attack on their very personhood, an attack upon society at large. Like, how dare you ask for respect? Now, Jordan Peterson's name is Jordan Peterson, a gender-neutral name. And if I were to start calling Jordan Peterson George Peterson, he'd probably get really annoyed. He wouldn't get the point, but he'd probably get really annoyed. But no one's forcing you to be respectful. All the person's doing is saying, I would like you to respect me. And if you don't, you're showing the fact that you don't have respect for them. There are consequences to that. They're probably not going to talk to you. They're not going to like you. And they're probably going to tell folks that that person over there has been disrespectful to me. And in the event that disrespectful person continues to do enough of that, they could very well cross a line and get themselves into a situation where they were then harassing the person that had asked to be respected. And then they can engage in the legal system because there are harassment repercussions. You harass someone, you can get in legal trouble. Sometimes it's purely civil, sometimes it's criminal and civil. But that would not have been triggered if the harasser had not become a harasser. This is on them. But of course, they don't want to take responsibility for that. So they have to, in their own minds, convince themselves and anyone who wants to listen to them that that person that had asked for respect is attacking me. They're coming after me with the law because I won't show them respect. Well, they're coming after you because you're harassing them. You don't have to respect them. You cannot be forced to respect them. No law under the sun is ever going to make you have respect for someone. And in case of Jordan Peterson's isn't concerned, he should be used to not being respected. It should be something that he should be used to a lot, because lots of folks don't respect Jordan Peterson. They, in fact, think he's a clown. He eats an all-meat diet. He's tried warped and twisted detox programs that are, in some cases, like involved partial comas. I mean, he's not a well dude, and he's espousing hatred and racism and bigotry because it earns him a lot of money. He may have been some sort of academic at one time. I'm not sure. You'd have to find people that actually had him as an instructor long ago before he began his existence as a pundit to tell you if he was a decent academic or not. But you'd have to also see that through the lens of Jordan Peterson's incredible amounts of privilege because he carries it around like like a royal purple cloak. But he doesn't want to be called on his harassment. He doesn't want to be called on his disrespect. And to folks like Peterson, being called on their disrespect is viewed as a far more egregious act than the fact that they are being disrespectful to somebody else. How dare you point out that I've been disrespectful to that person? And all you're doing is pointing out reality. And they don't like reality because reality has got nothing to do with their worldview. If they cleaved to reality, they wouldn't be who they are. They wouldn't be making the bucks they're making. They wouldn't be, as publicly famous. They'd be better human beings, but that apparently doesn't make them a lot of money. Being horrible human beings does. So they're horrible human beings professionally. And I imagine privately as well. I can't imagine that Jordan Peterson is not also an egregiously horrible person to know. I was quite surprised to find out recently that he has a wife. I was stunned by that. Because he's a deep-seated misogynist. He hates women. So why the hell is he married to one of them? I mean, seriously, he hates them. And yet he's married to one of them. That's a real head scratcher. But it's important to remember that no matter how many times Peterson and his ilk will twist and warp and try to change the narrative, all people from the trans community want is respect. The same respect and rights that straight people get, that cis people get, that men get, because trans women get misogyny as well. That's all they're asking for. Nothing more, nothing less. The bottom basement of social decency. And yet that is seen as some horrendous upheaval to the very fabric of reality itself by Peterson and his vile ilk. So I don't get it. I should. I've been reading these people and listening to these people long enough, but I still don't. It's still a head scratcher for me. Why do you care if the person who's standing in front of you asks to be called Jill? How does it affect your life in the least if they somehow don't fit what you imagine a person named Jill would fit? Why do you care? It's just their name. And yet it is seen as an attack upon them, which to my mind demonstrates an ego so incredibly, unbelievably fragile that it makes spun glass look like titanium.